So what are we talking about today?
We're talking about the soldier.
Oh, Soldier Boy's new
No, not the soldier. No, what?
Oh, you're probably talking about Soldier 76.
Got you in.
Definitely not.
Hey everyone, welcome to GameGorgon. My name's Indigo.
And I'm Krug.
And clearly you can tell that I'm sick, but today we're going to be talking about the Starfinder Soldier class.
If there are a lot of cuts in this episode, it's me cutting around Indigo coughing in a violently disgusting way. You're welcome.
Or just snorting snot up my nose.
Ew. The soldier is the fighter of Starfinder. If you were going to find an approximation, it's the class that builds itself around an almost simplicity. Like, it's very versatile in the sense that it can be a very offensive or a very defensive class. It's very heavily, not reliant per se, but proficient with equipment and weapons and armor and stuff like that. It is the mundane character that is so good at those mundane types of combat that it excels enough to be impactful in the group with the Solarian and the Mystic. A very special kind of martial character. I think it's really cool.
You're going to get 7 hit points for choosing this class, as well as get 7 plus your Constitution modifier for your stamina.
You're going to get to choose your key ability score. It's a choice between Dex or Strength. Suffice it to say that it's a very important choice. You don't get to change it later on. So decide the build you're going for first, and then pick your key ability modifier in that order all the time.
Yeah, Strength is going to be primarily for melee class, like if that's the direction you want to go, while Dexterity is going to be for your ranged, if that's what you want to do.
Yep.
For skills, you're going to have 4 plus your Intelligence modifier, which again, you're not like the super skillsy character. That's because you are either the bashy character or I'm going to shoot you and kill you instantly character.
Yeah. You're proficient with fucking everything. At level 1, the first thing you're going to pick, the thing that defines you as a soldier and kind of guides the flavor or helps guide the flavor of your character, is going to be your fighting style. This style is going to change the way that your fighter interacts with certain mechanics based on the style that you pick. We're going to give you some examples in a bit. We'll get there. The fighting styles are going to unlock access to a set of abilities called techniques that you're going to learn at first level, and then every 4 levels thereafter you're going to get to pick a new technique. And then at level 9 you get to pick a new fighting style. And so that's kind of differentiating your character. Maybe you picked a really heavily defensive fighting style at level 1. At level 9 you might pick a more offensive fighting style, or you could double down on defense and pick something else that helps you be defensive in a different way.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. There's 7 total fighting styles. Each of them has 5 techniques. This is just an example of a high level and a low level one from my favorite flavor-wise. At level 1, if you pick the guard style, you're gonna get armor training, which basically allows you to reduce the check penalty of the armor that you wear by 1.
Oh, okay.
Which is pretty nifty.
Yeah, especially since if you go into armor, like, because recently I've been building a character, like, armor has some harsh penalties.
Yep.
And I'm literally, like, my character is proficient in heavy armor, and I did not choose heavy armor because it was so punishing.
Which I think is good. Like, I think that's the way it's supposed to be. Like, you can be a beefcake, but that is your thing, the thing that you're gonna be. It also encourages you to take it off more. So that you can do other stuff.
Yeah, it also makes it for classes that, like, for example, this class, which is going to reduce the penalties you get, it makes them more special.
Yeah, it sounds like a super weak ability, and I think it might lead you to believe, oh, level 1's kind of weak for the talents. It's not.
No,
it's not that weak. It's pretty strong.
The fact that I chose to specifically not use something that I'm proficient in because it's so punishing.
Yeah. Hey, speaking of which, you also get to increase the max dex bonus of whatever armor you're wearing by 1.
Oh, that's nice.
That is nice. So you're getting additional benefit from wearing the armor in the form of AC because of your dex bonus, and you're reducing the penalty by 1. So just like overall, the value you're getting out of that 1 talent is a lot.
10-4, taking a dip in fighter. Wait, soldier.
We're gonna say fighter a bunch, leave us alone.
Well, I mean, first of all, its first ability is fighting style.
Yep.
So, I mean, it's easy to kind of like...
Case in point, get off our backs. We're gonna jump ahead to level 17 where you get impenetrable defense, which is gonna give you a lot of things that you can do. So as a standard action until the start of your next turn, you and one adjacent ally that you select gains. DR increases to a DR of 10. You get a +4 to your AC bonus. It's gonna also allow you to use a previous talent that you had access to in the guard fighting style that by default allows you to take half damage for somebody.
Oh, wow.
To instead take full damage for somebody.
Oh, wow.
So it's just kind of like that super protective like build. I think that differentiation of power levels sort of is a good explanation of the kind of differentiation you should expect across all of them.
Sure.
It's pretty vast.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think that's really interesting, especially if you have a damage reduction of 10.
Yeah.
And like, just like, cool, I'm taking all the damage that this person would have taken. I'm just going to take that, use my damage reduction, so I'm going to minus that. You know, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I dig it. At second level and every 2 levels thereafter, you're going to get combat feat, which is you get a feat. Just a general feat.
You get lots and lots and lots of feats. I think this is the only class we've seen that has this kind of like really generic feat heavy emphasis. And I think that is really cool.
Yeah.
Because feats open up a lot of different avenues for making your character good in specific situations. And so at later levels, you're really good in specific situations, but there's a lot of those situations, right? That trigger your feats or allow you to make use of the bonuses that you get from feats.
Yeah, no, like the mechanic I'm building, it's very like cool. You get skill focus. You're good at these skills, like, and it gives you those, but it does not give you generic like feats to just like build the character how you want to.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what the soldier I always imagine is like this, just like, what do you want to play as? Like, this is a blank slate that's just giving you opportunity to go in either a very hard direction or just be this
a generalist of combat.
Exactly.
It's really awesome. Like, and you'd be thinking to yourself, oh, but you can't do like mystic things. Yeah, you can. You have grenades. Like, just make the grenades do the work for you. Just stock up on grenades. There's so many ways for you to build yourself into kind of more versatile versions of the rest of the character list.
Yeah, more versatile, not as good.
Not
in that specific talent.
Yeah.
You know.
But then you also have things to make up for it, like, hey, I'm proficient in heavy armor off the bat. I can use every kind of weapon.
Yeah.
Things that the other classes can't dabble in as much.
Yeah, I gotcha.
At level 3 and every 4 levels thereafter, you're going to get gear boost, which is kind of interesting, pretty unique to the soldier. You're going to pick a piece of equipment and basically get a talent with that equipment. Something that makes you more effective when you use a piece of equipment with a specific trait.
Okay.
So there are things for sniper rifles, there are things for armor, there are things for grenades, there's all kinds of different ways that you can improve your character with a specific piece of equipment. And that's kind of why I was saying they're equipment, not reliant, but very equipment proficient.
Sure.
Because you get access to this special set of skills that makes you better with items.
Okay. What are some examples?
Nice segue. Armor advantage is a good defensive example. When wearing armor, you gain a +1 insight bonus to your KAC. Melee Striker is a good option for a more offensive character. You get to add an additional bonus equal to half your strength modifier to damage rolls with melee weapons. I think it's interesting. It doesn't break the game.
No.
They're not super strong.
But you're also
you start getting them at level 3.
You're getting it at level 3 and every 4 levels thereafter. And
Yeah.
I don't know if this is correct, but are they segregated by levels, or is it
No,
just
they're
a
not.
pool?
It's
of
just a pool.
Okay,
Yeah.
so you're just getting a bunch of these that aren't necessarily like stronger or weaker. It's just more of what do you want to be good at?
Yeah, exactly. I think it's designed so that, because they're all persistent, right? None of them are like, when you are like wearing this kind of armor and your feet aren't touching the ground, you gain a, like, it's not that conditional. It's okay. That was a dumb example.
No, I loved it. You're like, okay, great. I've got a jetpack always. I'm just hovering 6 inches above the ground.
I think the way that this scales specifically is just them layering on top of each other. As long as you're building that part of your character around what you're using,
Sure.
they're always going to be on, always going to be helping you when the item is helping you.
Yeah.
I think it scales pretty well.
And at level 3, you're going to get weapon specialization.
I mean, technically, this is the one time it makes sense.
I mean, I guess.
Because it's
I mean,
literally just talked about the gear, like.
Yeah, I get it. But as we've said in other classes, just make this something more interesting.
Yeah, with the number of feats you get.
Why aren't you taking a weapon?
Why you would take weapon specialization? I wouldn't blame you for taking it at level 2, despite the fact that you get it at level 3.
Yeah, I mean, I think this should have just been across the platform. It should have just been across the platform. Just here's a free feat.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
and weapon specialization may be the most optimal option at this point because of the way health and way damage progresses. But like, just forcing everyone weapon specialization either means
I've played plenty of characters that even throughout entire campaigns, I've never used a weapon. Plenty of characters.
Mystic.
Yeah.
Like,
any caster in any game.
I have weapon specialization cane.
That used to be a thing, right? Like, when RPGs were young and you could literally run out of magic and you had to resort to the crossbow. You needed some dex, you needed some crossbow-like things. It's not a thing very much anymore, so I don't see the reason to keep it, you know?
I think it has to do with how the curve of health and how damage works. It's literally, I think it's a crutch for every character to just kind of progress in the same fashion. I just wish it would have been a background thing instead of, like, at X amount of levels you get a feat, at X levels you get a skill like increase.
Yeah.
It should have been at X level you just get specialization instead of it being a part of every single class.
Or like if you really, really think that it's that important for the balance of the game, which I do think might be a valid reason for them to have done it, do that and say you take a feat and have balanced the game differently, you know? Like, it just, like, psychologically, it feels like I'm wasting something here.
Sure.
Even though I know for a fact...
It feels like a boring level.
Yeah, they balanced it around that. So I know I'm not losing out on something, but I still feel like it, just because I'm a human.
Yep, I'm with you.
What am I gonna do?
At level 9, you're going to get your secondary fighting style, which we've already talked about, but now this is when you get to have a second one.
Duh, it changed my mind. No, I mean,
No,
no
air high five. Right?
Good job.
Germs can't jump that far.
At level 11, you're gonna get Soldier's Onslaught, which is gonna allow you to make 3 attacks instead of 2 attacks when you make a full attack action at a -6 penalty instead of a -4 penalty. So less accurate, more attacks. It works, it doesn't have any prerequisites. It doesn't say like, oh, you need a melee weapon, or a ranged weapon, or an armedness, or whatever. Just whatever you're using, you can make 3 attacks instead of 2.
Cool.
Which is cool. Now, Kill Shot, level 20, pretty cool. I do have some problems with
Okay.
it. I feel like this is the only part of the character that forces you into a playstyle.
Okay.
So let's talk about what it is first before we get all philosophical and shit. I'm so dumb. As a standard action, you can make a single attack against an enemy. If the attack doesn't kill the enemy, you can spend 1 resolve point to make the creature succeed a fortitude save or die. That's, first of all, I think that's fun.
Sure. No, it's a great capstone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a really good, it feels really strong. It's probably not super imbalanced because they can keep it in mind and say, well, if we want the soldier to be able to kill this thing at level 20, we give it a low fort.
Yeah.
And then just let it one-shot the thing.
Well, yeah, and not only that, it's like if it succeeds the 1 fortitude save, you can't use that ability again.
That's true.
For another 24 hours.
Yeah, so it has a per creature cooldown of 24 hours, which makes it not spammable per se, but like, it's not like you blow your load on one creature, it fails, and then you get no satisfaction and can't do it again until you long rest or whatever. Like,
it's per creature basis.
Yeah.
It reminds me a lot of the like the death punch on the monk.
yeah, except for that requires way more key points.
Sure. No. I'm with you.
I think the resource balance here is way better than the key points on the monk when in 5th edition, because that's literally like you get to do it 3 times or something, and then you're just like donezo.
But they also take damage whether they succeed or don't. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the difference. This is just you either die or you don't. Yeah.
Well, you also get to do an attack's worth of damage.
Yeah.
That's another good thing about it.
Sure.
The reason I don't like it though is, and don't like it saying it too strong. The reason I would have preferred something else is there are a lot of parts of this class that focus on being the protector.
Okay.
And that's an archetype that I personally really like. As a matter of fact, if you check out our Fate Core video on Friday, I'm going to be talking about building a character that's sort of like a protector in Fate, if you want to learn how to play Fate. Different video though. Let's go back to this one. So I can build that character with this class. But at level 20, the capstone I get doesn't fit that fantasy very well.
True.
You know, it forces me down an aggressive fantasy that maybe I don't want to play. I don't want to be the sniper at long range or the bludgeoning guy. I would just want to be the guy that's the bulwark, like the one standing in front of the team taking damage and controlling and manipulating. And maybe like the counter argument to that is like, this is the wrong class to play. Maybe you should have played Vanguard. But it got so close.
Well, Vanguard doesn't exist technically yet.
True, that's true. In the context of this book, Vanguard doesn't exist yet. But and you know, either way, I think that it was a missed opportunity to have like a diverging capstone.
Sure.
Like I know that would have been more work, but like with such a flexible like multi-key ability score, so many different options and feats that literally span every class of the game. Like they're supposed to support everyone, not just this one class. And the different fighting styles, of which there are 7, each of them have 5 abilities. There's just so much versatility here. And then the capstone is just like, you kill things. You're just like,
Something that could be would have been interesting for defensive would be like immune to criticals.
Yeah.
You can't be
become immune to critical hits, and like once per round, you can use a special free reaction to like prevent critical hit damage to an ally.
Yeah.
Or something. Not once per round. That was the dumbest thing. No.
Once per resolve point?
Yeah. Or something like that. Give them a mechanic that is outside of resolve and a mechanic that uses resolve. And the one that uses resolve is like stronger.
Yeah,
I think that would be fun. But that's not the way it is. We have this. I think it's good if that's the kind of thing you want to play. I don't think a lot of people will end up reaching this because many people don't get to level 20 naturally.
The problem with RPGs is the fact that it's very difficult to get to that point.
Yeah.
To get to level 20 is so hard. It takes years and years and years. If you're playing with a constant group, if you're playing and you don't get bored or switch games or lose players or whatever, like it's very hard in the RPG community to keep a group to get to level 20.
Yep.
Like I've never done that. Like I've played characters at level 20.
Yeah.
I've never played with a group until 21 to
From
20.
1 to 20.
Exactly.
So if you're starting at level 20, or even if you're starting at level 16 or something, you're going to look at just the last part of the class and see if you like it. But if you're starting at level 1, I think a lot of us can agree you don't look at level 20.
No.
You look at levels 1 through 10
Yeah.
at the most, you know?
Yeah, you look at where it could go
Yeah.
and base it off of that.
Exactly.
I don't know, what do you guys think of the capstone? Why don't you let us know down in the comments. While you guys are down there, make sure to hit the like button, make sure to hit the subscribe button, hit the bell icon so you can get notifications for all of our future content. And then head over to Twitter where I don't have to use my voice, but instead use my keyboard at IndigoQT.
And you can talk to me on Twitter or anywhere else because I'm fine for now at QueueTimes, or you can talk to both of us at these social media things down here where we can't get you sick through them. So just don't be afraid to.
We've been GameGorgon. We'll see you all later.